I want to look at the zodiac as one whole journey, a process, a step-by-step growing up, exploration, discovery, and going through different stages, each one of which is equally important, but they all have a concentration, they have a focus about them. And today's focus on Aries is not going to be just about Aries as the zodiac sign. I want to escape a little bit from this, and we are going to make it broader. These characteristics are within every one of us, not only within those of you who have the sun in Aries. You know that the birth chart is so much more complicated. You can have the moon in Aries. All the other planets could also fall in the sign. Something of an area of life, a concentration of experience, a house, in other words, is usually starting in Aries. Sometimes it skips it, and no house starts in Aries because they're intercepted houses. But in general, you always have somewhere in the chart, in your life, in your personality, which is being stressed, activated by this mode of operation. And this is what Aries is, like the rest of them, a certain mode of operation, a certain way of perceiving reality. And we are presumably in tune with the galaxy, with nature, with our solar system and the way it's ordered in any moment. And we're trying to be in balance with this, recognize the signs, see where that energy is playing out in life and being able to direct it, coordinate it, use it consciously. What happens throughout the whole process of our journey around the sun in the year is that two forces are equally represented, but more or less at the different times. And we can give different names to those forces. Here I have stolen this from Rudyard, the day force and the night force, because for people, maybe this is the easiest thing to imagine. It's not very abstract. We can see and feel and emote with how it is when it's dark and how it is when it's light. So the day and the night. When we translate this outside of the boundaries of day and night and into the zodiac, into the yearly cycle that we also experience, there we can see it all together. We don't need to be awake during the day and sleeping during the night so that we only experience half of the process. But through the yearly cycle of the zodiac, we can see nature waking up, then having its full force of action at some other point. Later on, tiring, losing its strength, and gradually dying, and then falling asleep for a period. This beautiful expression of the passion for life is mostly seen here. And again, that's not just Aries people. It's those moments when you feel very fresh, almost like you've just woken up from a dream. And isn't birth a kind of waking up from a dream as well? So here, the zodiac is being born. We are being born for the first time in Aries. And we can say that we feel a bit dizzy, like teenagers feel a bit messed up. They don't know exactly what they're thinking and exactly where they're going. It's still very chaotic. But that chaos resembles the feeling of waking up from a dream, because we are very much pulled back in the memory of what was before, but it's no longer existing. Now we are living a new life. We are waking up for a new start, and we need to concentrate on this. So it's this magical moment between the two states. And Aries is trying to hold on to the moment as much as it possibly can, because otherwise it is risking to go back and disappear. Sometimes if we have too much of this energy, we can overdo it and take too much risk, jump too much, too high, and fall in a precipice. We can be the fool in the tarot cards if we don't play very carefully with Arian energy. But when we talk about courage and will and all those usual keywords for Aries, we sometimes forget that what this is really about is the ability to not block yourself, your energy, when you are under pressure. So in order to flex its muscles, Aries needs those situations that are dangerous, that are dynamic, that present some sort of challenge, and they are stressful situations. They disturb the waters. They're not peaceful. And Arian energy attracts that from the outside to itself. It invites it in, it needs it as a playing ground, because this is what it needs in order to grow in the way it has to grow in that stage of the cycle. When Aries starts a new enterprise, it usually doesn't plan very much ahead in time. It usually doesn't have a very structured, stable, thought through business plan or something like this. It may have if someone else that has more of an accent to one of the other energies in the zodiac has helped him or her do it. But that's not going to be the approach of the pure Aryan spirit. It's not calculative, it's spontaneous. It's not seeing very much ahead in time, because its main role is to begin, to get on the journey. And then once the process is started, it is already operational, it can hand it over to someone else, or it can just be thinking about expansion, new opportunities, transformation of what is already there into yet new beginnings. So it's looking to be the starter of many things again and again and again. And that's something that with Aries never stops. If there isn't another balancing energy to come into the picture and tell it to stop and make it stop and consolidate, it is never going to do that on its own. Aries is actually a lot more depressive than it looks like in the first glance, and most people suspect. Aries has a certain heaviness about it. It's not just the dark side of this neuroticism and rushing and speeding all the time, and it's another point to do with a kind of sadness, a kind of self-doubt and despondency, which Aries is very good in hiding. It's not visible, it's not that obvious for it, but it does live underneath the surface. Because underneath the surface, this pull of the past, being too close still to the previous cycle, to the unconscious area of the 12th house of Pisces, of all the late signs, the previous cycle. This is something of a burden, a psychological burden for Aries, that with all this action and all this movement, it's trying to compensate for.